Hey everyone, this is Matt with a quick announcement. Just wanted to let you know that there is no video that accompanies this podcast. We were over at the Harrisburg show when we recorded this with the Lone Wolf Custom Gear crew and did not have cameras with me. I just had a portable podcast recorder. So I will still load this up to YouTube though, for those of you who like to just kind of listen to it in the background. So it will still be there. Also want to let you know that we are shifting our drop date of when we put out our podcast. We're going to move it to Thursdays going forward. So next Thursday we will start dropping our podcast at the end of this one, because at that time it still said Wednesday, but it is Thursday. So look for us next Thursday for the next podcast coming out from the dojo. Hey, I hope you enjoy this, and let's get into it. Welcome to the Mobile Hunters Dojo. Take a seat on the mat and get ready to learn from today's best mobile hunting masters. I'm your host, the White Belt Sensei, Matt Lear. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at the Mobile Hunters Dojo. All right, everybody, welcome back to the dojo. Come on in, kick off your shoes, and take a seat on the mat. We are here today with some guys from the Lone Wolf Custom Gear crew. We're going to let everybody go ahead and do their own introductions. Why don't we start over here?
Cool. Yeah. No, happy to be on with you guys. AJ Kazmerzak, also known as the Coffee Viking on Instagram. Been working with Lone Wolf Custom Gear for a couple of years now. Nothing but good people, great products. Been hunting for, 13 years. And feel like I learn something new every single time I go out in the woods.
Heck yeah.
But that's the basic of who I am.
My name is Zach Robb, a lot simpler, shorter name, aka the Stash Squatch. I'm from Virginia. I guess I've been hunting since I graduated high school seriously, so that's about 12 years in the mountains and some of the ag country of Virginia. So really dived into bow hunting the past couple of years, and it's a passion. It's humbling, but it's what we love.
It's hard to roll off that one. My name is Christian Green. I'm from northern Michigan, also known as Selfmade 88 on Instagram. I'm rocking with Film the Outdoors too. I've been a part of Lone Wolf Custom Gear for the past 5 years. I got into bow hunting when I was 16, took a pretty solid break, got back into it around 24-year-old mark. I had a short stint where I was in the Marine Corps, so I was kind of hindered with the hunting opportunities there. Got back into it in 2017. That's when the bug really, really bit me. I found out that there's big deer. I found out that just being in the woods and in nature helped fulfill some of the voids that I had in life after getting out of the Marine Corps. And once I caught that bug, it was boots on the ground, and I was off running. It's an exceptional passion. It's incredible. It's just bow hunting is a journey, you know.
Heck yeah, it is. What is everybody doing when you're not hunting and you need to make money? What are you guys doing?
Oh, geez. Whatever we can do to satisfy whatever it's going to cost to hunt that next trip. I think all of us do that. But my day job is craft beer salesman out of Columbus, Ohio. The passion project that I started back in college with my business partner is Jennings Java Coffee Roasters. So I own a coffee company out of there as well. We ship all over the country. And then I've got my hands in a couple other outdoor specific pieces. And then when I'm not doing that or making money or things like that, I'm with family. My wife and I just had a 7-month-old, and man, being a dad is awesome. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. But that's kind of what I do if I'm not out in the woods.
Yeah, so for me, it's simple. OnlyFans.
That's
No,
it was a chest pick.
Oh, he's got feet pics for sure.
No, it's the
Whatever
stash
sells.
pick.
It's a week-to-week
Stash
thing.
pick.
No, so I'm a custom home builder in Virginia. We typically do large houses, one at a time, small crew, and we build it start to finish. On top of that, I'm a dad of two, so I'm always busy at the house, and then a volunteer firefighter on top of that. So
You got a lot going on.
plenty to do.
Yep.
For myself, I'm a journeyman lineman. It's cool. I have a family of 3. I got a daughter and 2 boys. Got a beautiful wife. First and foremost, to try to be the best dad I can be. Balance the load of work and family. It never seems to be enough. And then at some time we squeeze in this thing that comes around once a year called hunting season.
It's an addiction.
Amen.
It's fine.
You know,
Mhm.
and that's it's hard to balance, but over the years I've been getting better at it. I'm blessed. I got a great family. I got a ton of support, and I'm blessed to have a little bit of time off to do what I enjoy.
Yeah. So right now we're in PA at the Great American Outdoor Show. And the reason why I ask you what you guys were doing is because, a lot of people when they listen to podcasts, at least I know when I was all the time, you hear people talking and you're like, man, these guys are doing this 24/7. They're out there, that's
They're
all
getting
they're
paid for
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
And it starts to become like you start to feel frustrated because as you hear about guys going out and killing, bigger, mature bucks, you almost make an excuse in your head. You know what I mean? Because you're like, well, I can't do that because they're able to do that 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So listening to what you guys are doing, it sounds like everybody here is like extremely busy.
We're juggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
For
say
sure.
we're all in a similar boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're just on the opposite sides paddling, trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
And we're all addicted to one thing, and that's the woods.
whitetails.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we're out here at this Great American Outdoor Show. It's kind of crazy, man. I think it's like the biggest show I've ever seen.
Dude, I've never been out here.
Biggest show in the world.
It's my first time here.
This is your first time too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else first time?
No, this third year for me.
We've
Yeah.
been a lot, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third
'Cause-
year, and I think that the 5 days enough. 5 days is enough out of
Yeah,
the
you're
9.
a trooper for that.
Dude, you're doing 5?
I got here this year on Wednesday, so I got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's 4.
Yeah.
For those of you listening that might not know about the Great American Outdoor Show, it's 9 days.
Mm-hmm.
It goes Saturday to the following Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of the largest consumer shows in the country. As someone that has only ever been to the archery trade show, which is a business to business show, much, much smaller. Most of the people are talking to bow shops and things like that. To turn from that and then come out here and see, it's way more face to face. It's direct to consumer. I mean, there are thousands of people. And I've heard from other guys like, oh, dude, you got to come out to this. I just assumed it was another trade show. I had no idea the beast we were walking into this week.
It is.
Yeah, I mean,
Sometimes.
I legitimately got lost last year, and I've been here 4 or 5 times, and I literally got lost. Somebody
Lost
was
for-
like, "Hey, dude."
Lost for 45 minutes.
Yeah, somebody was like, "Hey, dude, are you lost?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, your booth is in the other room. You got to go over here and over there." And that,
He had some random
Literally.
telling, hey,
I
no,
was
your booth
lost.
is this
Somebody
way.
recognized
Almost
me
need
from
to
the
use
booth.
Onyx.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea, honestly.
Yeah. So no, it's an amazing show. There's outdoor products hall, there's archery hall, boat hall, fishing hall, outfitter hall. I think there's something else. I mean, it's absolutely
There's like
massive.
60,000 square foot of stuff to go look.
No,
walk
it's
around.
hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds
We're,
of
we're,
Yeah,
thousands.
it's
we're
insane.
saying all of this to say if
Big.
you're listening to this,
You're missing
make it a
out.
point to come out to this show.
So I'm gonna flip it a little bit too. I do think it's worth going out to, but so there's a ton of products out there, and I'm walking through each booth, and I'm kind of remembering myself when I kind of first got in the game 25 years ago, and I remember all the stuff that I was buying, man, and I was buying sprays and I don't know, pixie dust and just all this stuff to try to make the deer come to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's definitely a place for gear. Obviously, I mean, I have you guys here. I use a 0.5,
Mhm.
right? There's a place for gear, but I actually think it only goes so far. I think there's certain products you want to, invest into.
I don't want to name anything by name here. This isn't like a bashing session.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
But definitely what I noticed was a bunch of, I mean, I've never seen this many people at a show. And I'm noticing these people who are so passionate, wanting to get, shoot some of the bucks that obviously, I think, at least I know all three of you had incredible seasons this year. And a lot of these people in conversations that I've had with them are talking about, I just haven't gotten it done yet. I really want to get to that next level. And they're looking for that thing that's going to get them there.
That X factor.
That X factor. Yeah. And so since you guys all had incredible seasons, I'm curious, like, how much of those gadgets you guys actually use. I know the answer to this, but I just wanted to
I got one main tool,
yeah.
and that is it. That is my Lone Wolf custom gear 0.5, my 17-inch doubles. That's the only tool that I have stayed tried and true to throughout the numerous years of trade shows, throughout the numerous bow shop trips, the latest and greatest little things. Those all come and go, but when it comes to being efficient, you have to have a piece of equipment that is light, that's durable, that's most importantly functional and easy to use, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I pretty much carry my knife, my stand, and my bow. And that's what I'll hunt with. I mean, I may carry a few other things here and there, but I don't rely on any products here and there to help me get it done. I think it takes luck or time, and your time you can put in now, you can put it in the season, but you got to spend the time, and you got to have a few of the right tools, and I don't rely on any of the crap.
Yep.
Let me kick it back real quick. Boots on the ground.
Yep. Time.
That's your biggest thing. That's it. Don't matter if you're hunting with a old Walmart special or you went out and bought the Lambo. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Of course, Mr. Positivity's got a slightly different outlook on it. And my whole thing, is there a lot of smoke and mirrors? 100%. Is there a lot of products out there that, might or might not work? Absolutely. My biggest thing is confidence. Whatever you can do to give you the most amount of confidence when you set foot on that property, do whatever you got to do.
I'd agree with that.
Previously, and I'll give a shout out to my buddy Jacob Leischen because he took me under his wing. Previously, I was the guy that had the big giant backpack. I had every scent elimination product. I was bathing in it. I was spraying down every time. I was using, drags and all of those things have a place in our industry. But I don't think you should live and die by them, because what happened was we went on a trip. He was joking about how big my pack was. And we go and we sit down that evening, just like we're all doing today. And he goes through all of it. Dude, I was using 20% of what I actually had in my pack. Long story short, all that stuff got pushed to the side. Now, my personal setup, I run a Lone Wolf Custom Gear 0.5 as well. And I run the Mobile Hunter Waist Pack underneath it. And I run that September. I hunt Ohio, so I run that September through January. And what's in it gives me the confidence that no matter what state I hunt, no matter what block of woods I'm in, I can step foot and I know I can get in every single tree that's on that property if I have to. And I was talking about it to some folks today. I'm like, that confidence to know that what you're doing, your preparation, your gear, to walk in and be like, if there's a big buck in here, I know that there is nothing hindering me from getting to it. That's like my biggest thing. So I think the products that are here, a lot of it's a confidence piece, but I agree 100%. Do you need it? Absolutely not.
Yeah, all the killers that I know are like, what'd you say? You went out with your stand, your bow, what else?
And a knife. I'm a knife guy.
And a knife. Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Yeah.
he's got 7 on him right now. So
Can't help that. But you got to have a knife. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get you get it down on the ground. That's having confidence, bringing your knife, knowing you're going to use it right
That's
away.
right.
Might be bad luck. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that's when I think of the killers that I know, I mean, it's pretty basic.
Mhm.
You know, you got the thing that you're going to hunt from, you got the thing that you're going to use to kill it,
Mhm.
you know, and probably some stuff to get up the tree, and that's about it. And I was just kind of sitting back watching all this stuff and watching all these people spend a ton of money. And I'm like, and I don't know. I mean, about you guys, you talked about going out there, boots on the ground. I heard you say luck. So I think it's good to acknowledge that
Yeah.
there's even with the skill part of it, you need.
You still have to have them walk in
So,
front of you.
I've denied a lot of podcasts, and I said that if I was going to be on one, I was going to talk about, or at least bring up the fact that there's luck versus time,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to put one in. You either get lucky or you've spent some time figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a big magic secret that's going to put you on a buck within 3 sits and kill it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen.
Who after spending more time though started to feel like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I think a lot of times what I used to do is try to study ahead of time. And I thought, okay, if I study enough, I watch enough videos, I buy enough stuff, then I'll be ready and I can go out and execute.
Almost like a putting the cart before the horse kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when I finally got away from that and I just started going out and screwing things up and then kind of learning from that and just
Absolutely.
the more time I spent in the woods, all of a sudden started things clicking. I mean, would you guys kind of feel the same way in your journey going up?
100%. I mean, this year I killed on historic encounters alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think I told you at dinner I had a camera set up or whatever in an area that I knew around that turn towards rut, the bucks would start cruising through to check doe bedding, and that's where I set up. That's where I had intel from previous years and was looking for intel this year, and ended up just sitting there even though my camera was broken, and ended up killing that sit. Just because I knew historically from learning that piece, from putting time in and boots on the ground, that I could have an encounter in that area given that time frame
Mm-hmm.
on that piece.
Yeah. Christian, I mean, when I asked you months back, I was kind of like, like go over like kind of the stuff that you did to get to like these kills that you had this year. And you were like, well, I'm going off of historical data. I'm going off of like past time in the woods and scouting and stuff like that.
That's exactly what I did this year. I've had a piece of property that I keep in my back pocket. And due to lack of time this year, as I stayed in my job, that keeps me pretty busy and away from my house and my family. So going to this year's success, we'll get into that at another time. But, I dove into the piece of property knowing what I knew from previous years of hunting this property, knowing a bedding area, knowing a travel corridor, and using the limited time that I had, I used both of those to my advantage and picked a middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And within doing that, I found the success, but I also, end result was I had put time in it at some point.
Yeah.
Whether it was 2 years, 3 years prior, earlier in the year and whatnot, I didn't get to hunt as much as I wanted to. But with all the time that I had put in and allotted for in the past, all led up to what I found and landed on this year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, I've got just a quick question, not to get into tactics too much, because I've heard both sides of the story. So you've got 2, 3, 4 years history on this property.
yes.
When you're running, whether it's, whatever mapping system it is, Onyx, HuntWise, Spartan Forge, there's a number of them out there. Are you saving those historical data points, or are you wiping the slate clean? Because I've heard people do both.
So I personally, I keep at least 2 years worth of pins.
Mhm.
Now I will go through there and I will walk the same areas. I will scout the same areas. But throughout this, say 2021, all my pins are white.
Mhm.
22, my pins are red. 23, they're yellow, right? I'm going through those bedding areas. I'm going through those travel corridors. I'm going through those pinch points. I'm going to those little thermal hubs. I'm going to the destination food. I'm referring back to points that I had found, right? And I'm going to double check those.
Nice.
So as I'm double checking them, this year in 2022 or 2023, there could be a scrape 50 yards away, right? Okay. I'm going to mark that. And I still have my data point from 22 versus 23. Well, they don't line up correctly, right? So my mind puts me focus on the middle. Okay. If I can't be on this spot and this is wrong, I'm going to try to set myself up in the middle. But back to what your question is, no, I try to keep at least 3 years worth of pins on a piece of property, and I do change the color so I can go through and see as a mental note what that deer is doing, if they're making the little slight shift this way or they're making a little slight shift this way. But also with all of that comes down to throughout the year, weather. Weather's a massive thing, right? So if you get a big thunderstorm and you got a scrape over here, all of a sudden you got trees coming down, it's definitely going to shift the deer's pattern. So I think it's super beneficial. Back to the time, you got to put time in, you got to go look, you got to figure it out and make mental notes, whether it's putting pins down, or I don't know, whatever mapping tool you use. You know?
Right. That big picture is huge. I was the guy that, I'd put a red squatch everywhere I sat on the mountain. I got 600 pins on the mountain, and my scrapes were all just a red scrape symbol. So I was really bad about that. But this past year, I wiped the slate clean, and started fresh with the intent that I'll do a different color every year, because I think that's good. And then you can actually just hide them. You could hide everything except for this year, I think, if you set it up right. So that's kind of my goal. But yeah, I mean, again, I just had I knew the property well enough historically to put me in that position. But yeah, the old pins would have been a great way to relay it.
And that was just me as a hunter trying to continue learning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was just nosy as to what other people were doing.
I
if you were saving pins or
do
not.
that because ever since I've been a lineman, dude, it's tough for everybody knows what a lineman is. A storm comes and knocks out 150,000 people in PA. I'm from Michigan. Guess what? My company's called. We're going. It could be September. It could be August. It could be July. Thunderstorms, all that. Well, most of the time that takes 2-3 weeks away from my time at my house with my family. And in those moments, I could be taking my kid out for a walk. I could be using it as a scouting opportunity, but I'm gone, right? So I rely on the past time that I have had, and I make use of that, and I incorporate that with the following season. It just helps me better my odds. And I think it's a great tool to use while you are, the biggest thing is putting the work in, putting the effort in. People created a tool to help you out. Use it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember, I don't know if I'm the only one who felt this way. Before I started killing deer, like I felt this pressure to have to kill deer now. And so I would hear about like this, well, I got this past history with the property, or I'm going off historical data. And I'm going, I don't have time to invest in that because I need to kill a deer now. So I'm looking for whatever that magic pixie dust is to help me get it done today. And what happened was I was spinning my wheels for like 10 years.
And money.
Yeah.
Getting caught in all the little hypes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys ever had like a big old like change jar when you guys were a kid growing up, you know?
Still do.
So I used to, when I was a kid, man,
I'm still growing up.
I'm really showing like, I guess I'm kind of showing like the bad side of me here. It's like delayed gratification. It's hard for me. So growing up as a kid, I'd put like 4 quarters in, and then my hand would go right back in the next day, grab those 4 quarters, and I'm going out and buying like,
a pop or gun.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
And then like my sister, she's putting in the money, she's leaving it in there, and then she's coming home with a new bike one day.
Yeah.
You know? And I got nothing. I got a bunch of empty wrappers with not much to show for it. The way that I look at this, like you're scouting and stuff like that, is that you're actually putting in enough quarters into this pot. So when it's time to draw on it, when you don't have that large amount of time to go out and scout, now you can go back, reach back into your penny jar, your change jar, and you've got something there to be able to use, significant amount of data and historical, sign to fall back on. And then like that was your year this year, right?
Yeah, that was essentially me.
100%.
That was me playing my hand.
Yeah. So
I had a full house at that time. I laid it down and I killed that dude.
When I see all of the gadgets, and I don't think and I'm not saying this because you guys are here. I don't think the stand is a gadget. I think that is an absolute tool you need, or a saddle. I mean, I hunt out of both.
Mhm.
You know, that stuff is like ground-based stuff you need.
Mhm.
The other stuff is more like this add-on, like gadgety type of thing. You know,
And I think as hunters and developing as woodsmen and outdoorsmen and stuff like that, I think you see, and of course there's going to be outliers for whatever I'm about to say, but I think you see a lot of individuals, they buy a ton of stuff, and then each year as they progress as hunters and develop, they buy less and they buy less and they buy less. And then there comes a point where there's a switch that flips, and it's like, I need my absolute necessities. I need my stand. I need my bow or my rifle or what have you. And I just got to go do the work itself. And I think, because like we said, we've all been there. We've all bought the stuff. We've bought the scent-free suitcases and washes and all of that stuff. And slowly it ends up out of the bag. And slowly it ends up out of the bag. And then all of a sudden your bag itself gets smaller and you go to something else. And, it just continues to go as you continue to develop. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are getting caught up in the nitty gritty of this new and improved product. And next thing you know, like you just stated, you got this big backpack and you're bringing the whole fucking sink to the woods.
Yeah.
That's not going to help you kill the deer. I don't care what you bring to the woods.
I've had
I
a
don't care if
20-pound
you-
backpack.
Yeah, I
started there too. And I think we can all agree it doesn't matter if you bring a saddle to the tree. Doesn't matter if you bring a tree stand. Neither one of those pieces of equipment are going to kill that deer.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yourself, your individual person is going to be the one that takes the animal
Mm-hmm.
and takes that animal home to provide for your family. Not that piece of gear. That gear's gear's a tool. I'm sorry. That stand or saddle is a tool. Let me reiterate myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think there's something to be said for the right tool.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Like, for instance, I use the custom gear stands too. Being able to hunt the deer and not the right tree is a big difference. I used to rock the Summit Viper like every single person on the East Coast. That's all you hear. I use Summit Viper. Great stands, but if you don't have the right trees for that, you're stuck looking for the right tree, even though you need to be 40 yards to your left, which when you're rifle hunting, not a big deal. If you're trying to get in and hone in with a bow, it makes a big difference picking the right tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree.
That was a big difference for me when I jumped straight into bow.
And once again, with the hunter development piece to it and the gadgets and gizmos, I think all of us have realized it's a heck of a lot easier walking through the woods and walking 5, 6, 7 miles with 13 pounds on your back than it is 35, 45 pounds on your back.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an argument to the fact that we're lazy in a sense of we don't want to carry all that extra stuff with us. You know what I mean?
You pick the path of least resistance. I mean, more so than the weight. I weigh plenty enough myself, but more so than the weight is just the overall size of it hanging past your shoulders and all. I can remember getting hung up in briars and laurel. I'm not lucky enough to hunt open timber. I hunt thick, nasty crap. And getting hung up sucks. So that small streamlined profile is a big deal for me.
Oh yeah. Yep. So I do think there's people who are like, they seem to be like natural born killers. Like they just kind of have a knack for it.
Mm-hmm.
Those people, I think when I see them, they're putting in a ton of work though. Like they really don't look different than the other guys who have to work for it. So I know all of you are very successful hunters. Out of the 4 of us here, like, and it's okay. I want you to be honest. Like if you feel like you're a natural born killer, say it, right? So who here at this table feels like they're a natural born killer?
I think you know where this is going.
Yeah. Well, I actually thought there might be 1 or 2 of you that put their hand up, but nobody feels like it.
No. Dude, nothing's given to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
This year I dabbled in Missouri. I dabbled in Ohio. I was unsuccessful in both of those public land trips.
But you had a banner year in Michigan.
I had a banger year in Michigan, right? And that relayed back to the time and the effort and the historical points that I had found in the previous time, right? When time got short, I went back to that point, that starting point, and made adjustments from there. Now, I will kill something. Something will die every year from this guy. Something will die, something will bleed out, and something will be hung in my barn. Might be a 110, might be a 160.
Mm-hmm.
Something's gonna die. So I'm not going to say I'm a natural killer because if a natural killer is just gonna go out there and get it done right away, right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
you're gonna be Batman and swoop in and it's gonna work. No, that's not. So I'm not gonna say I'm a natural killer by any means. I will just say, given the right time, given the right situation, October 1st to December 31st, something will die.
Yeah.
When I'm hung up in a 300-yard patch of 8-foot tall briars at 10 p.m. with nothing but a headlamp, I don't feel like a natural born killer.
I'm so glad you said that.
And it's happened a lot of
That's a good
times.
way to point it out.
When I look at my Onyx and I say I should have gone that way, that's when I say, "Dang, I am not a natural born killer."
Yeah.
I got more bloopers than anything else.
I'm so glad you said that because I feel like I'll watch like the videos on YouTube and I think we're down to more like less refined media around hunting. I think we're into this more gritty,
More like day-to-day stuff.
yeah, we're away from the old, mega bucks or big bucks, whatever, 25 from Realtree or whatever
Monster
it is.
bucks.
Mhm.
Yeah, monster bucks. Thanks. I was looking for the
them
name.
old
I had those
VHS tapes,
DVDs
man.
and VHS tapes.
Dude, now you just opened up a whole
But
nostalgic.
to what you were saying, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. So like when even though I'm watching like this more realistic type of media, man, I think about myself and I'm like, does anybody else have a hard time getting the strap around? Like, and keep missing your strap 10 times and you're sweating,
Oh, dude, mine's like when it's cold out and I'm trying to get the strap around and your stand or your
Your fingers are so cold.
well, and of course you always end up pinching it right then
Yeah.
and there. And like you said, you're sweating. Yeah, no.
Anybody else get lost every once in a while going out to your pen in the morning?
I got a
Oh.
story.
Shoot.
I got a story. All right.
More
So
than one.
This year, This year, I set my wife up on a property I know very well. Hunted it lots of times. And she was done hunting after like 3 or 4 days, and I went up to get the stand. I walk in the dark, didn't even turn my headlamp on. Turn the headlamp on, boom, stands right there. I climb up, I pack it out, I put it on my back, I walk straight down the ridge. And I'm walking 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 and I'm walking. It's straight down the ridge. Super easy to get out. And I just feel like, man, I've been walking entirely too long. And so I pull up my Onyx and I'm somehow 180 degrees from where I should have been and about a half a mile away from where I should be. So I said, damn. All right. Pull out my Onyx and point myself in the right direction. I get going that way, keep walking. And look, oh, there's the tree I was in. Perfect. All right, I just go right down the ridge. I walk down the ridge. I start having the same feeling. I said, damn, I don't remember the laurel being here. Pull up the Onyx, and I had walked to the same damn spot twice. And I still have no idea how.
Yeah.
It took me walking and just looking at my phone to get out of the woods that night. I don't know what the heck I did wrong, but it can happen.
Oh,
And it was very humbling.
So in those instances, ain't nobody natural born killer when we're
Nope.
circled up trying to
Yeah.
figure out where we're going in the evening.
Two years ago, I got lost on a 20-acre parcel.
Yeah. I feel you, bud.
Dude, just walk straight. Go find the end
I
at some
could
point.
not. So
I feel you,
I
bud.
swear to it, man. I was hunting my uncle's 20-acre property, and normally I can get in this tree and I can turn around and see the barn light. Well, needless to say, the barn light went out that night, and I turn around and I look. Well, I caught the neighbor's barn light, so I decided to get down. the neighbor's barn light, I should have just clearly known it was a little bit farther away looking than the other one. I end up walking almost a mile to my neighbor's house.
Hell yeah.
That was just a trucking because I just kept staring at the light, just going. Finally get there to the backyard. I'm like, this is not my house. I need to turn around.
The key takeaway is no one has it all put together.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So the
Maybe
reason
not
why
quite a mile, but you know what I was lost.
That's
20
awesome.
acres.
I think
Thank you for sharing
I
that.
looked at the wrong barn light.
the reason why I bring that up, because I remember like, watching, these videos and then knowing what I was doing, and it messed with my head. Cause I would look at like you guys and feel like, man, I'm so far away from where they're at. Right. Cause we get like, when we're putting something on Instagram or we're putting something on the video, it's the highlight reel, right? We don't see the rest of the stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as someone who was wanting to put in the work, wanting to figure it out, and I was willing, like I was trying, my mind was off because I'm thinking, man, I know what's happening to me right now. I know I don't look as smooth as these guys, and I'm trying my hardest. And I almost got to those points where I was like, man, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I need to like pack it up and find something else that I might be good at. So I think it's just important for everybody to know, like, what we're trying to say with all this is like, yeah, the gadget's not going to get you there. None of us are natural born killers, but we went out, we worked hard, we trained. It's not perfect. You don't see all the other stuff we're doing, and you're probably not that far off if you commit to this thing. I think what I can probably say about all four of us is the commitment level. I think that is the threshold between, are you going to kill consistently or are you not? And it's really just about like, how hard are you going to work for it to get it?
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't have to work as hard. Some people get it a little bit faster. Like me, I'm 46, man. It took me, it took me 15, 16 years before it started to click for me.
Mhm.
So I think having you guys here and being honest about that is
Well,
really powerful
and-
for people
and-
to hear.
And to your point, you were talking about like watching the Monster Bucks and stuff, and it's the highlight reel. That's something that a lot of people like. Your mind absolutely, especially in today's day and age, your mind absolutely plays tricks on you. That if you don't have it figured out right now, you're never going to figure it out, or you don't have it. But that's not true. Instagram's a highlight reel. Facebook's a highlight reel. YouTube's a highlight reel. Some people put stuff on Twitter. That's a highlight reel. And you've got to understand, like, those individuals are showing you the stuff that they want you to see. A lot of people are not showing you the part where they walked through a creek and got soaked up to the boot and completely soaked their feet. Now, like you said, a lot of people are starting to go more towards those day-to-day stuff. So if you follow people and they're posting on Instagram, I've noticed Instagram stories specifically,
Mhm.
a lot of people are showcasing their bloopers on their stories
Mhm.
because the stories are a little more of that day-to-day piece to it. But yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. Obviously you have to put in the work. And as we've kind of alluded to it, this whole conversation, as cliche as it is to say, the quote goes, it's funny. I find that the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's kind of tied everything in that we've talked about in terms of hard work and stuff like that. Dude, you have shot some absolute monster deer. You didn't just happen to stumble into those deer.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of my
Yeah.
2 cents on the hard work
You
and luck
definitely
piece.
fall into the category of an individual that puts their time into,
Mhm.
But I want everybody to know, even that guy sitting here, and I've fallen into that little rabbit hole, dude. And somebody just recently dropped a podcast, the title, social media is not hunting.
Yeah, I saw that
You know?
too. Yep.
And perception is not always reality.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're watching some of these Instagram dudes, females, males, they're killing these deer. Dude, there's more that goes into that than you believe. It's not any given moment someone's dropping a 180, 190, 200.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of effort that goes into it. Granted, certain situations, you got the people that You got the people that'll hit the high fences. You got the people that'll hit the outfitters. You got all that. So be it. Teaches your own,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But still, at the end of the day, time and effort is put in. Some things are a little bit easier than others. Some things are that gravy road.
Mm-hmm.
But perception is not always reality. And I found myself getting caught up in that a couple of years ago. And quite frankly, every year, I try to compare myself to somebody. And as bad as it is, it's negative for my own well-being. It puts me down in the season, and it's not right. So everybody else out there is listening to this, even you guys, perception is not reality all the time. And social media is not hunting. That podcast I listened to the other day, the social media is not hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I actually broke down some statistics in my own state. There's 90,000 average bow hunters registered per year, and then most of the 150s that were killed with a bow are going to be posted on Facebook. So I'm giving it like, there's like 15 to 20 that are killed with a bow in my state of Virginia a year that are over 150. So if you break down that math, that's 1/10,000th of people in Virginia that bow hunt have the opportunity of killing a deer of that caliber. So
That's slim.
to compare yourself with these people it's just, it's a crapshoot.
Nobody's going to play with the Drurys.
No,
Nobody's going to play with Lee and Tiffany.
it takes
Like,
ground. You have to have those deer to
you
kill
have
those
to
deer.
have all of that.
So two things, and I'm dealing with this with my brother right now because my brother, I love him to death, and he knows this. So if he listens, I'm not going to get in any trouble from him. But he is notorious. He opens his Instagram and he sees 2 or 3, 120 plus class deer. He's like, shoot, he's at work, right? He's like, I should be in the stand right now. It's like, bro, it's a Tuesday on your lunch break right now. And two things with that. One, back in the day, I think the same number of big deer have been getting killed pretty consistently year in and year out. But back in the day, the only way you knew about it was you would have to go to the local bait shop and see if anybody posted a Polaroid. So you were getting a micro amount of individuals or a micro pool of hunters. Now you have access to every hunter in the entire country at your phone, at your hand, And so what I try to teach my brother, and hopefully someone can take this as well, is if you're opening your phone to see if there's been any big deer killed, you rewire, and it's easier said than done. Rewire your brain to like, there's 140, there's 180, there's a 130 on your feet. You know what? I can do this and use that as like almost like a pump up song. Like, let's hit the woods, baby. Let's go work, and I'm trying to work through that with him as well. And so hopefully someone can take that and utilize that.
Well, think about this too. Like, I know I'm guilty of this, and if you hear this, I'm sorry that I'm saying this, but who do I follow? I follow guys who've got big bucks on their accounts. So if that's who I'm following, I'm not following, like the average. I mean, what's that? Like the top 5% out of all hunters?
Probably even less than that.
Probably even less than that, right?
Yep. I would, yeah.
So I'm following a select handful of people. And so when I look, that's all I'm seeing are these elite hunters putting down bucks. But to me, it looks like everyone is putting down bucks. And it's like, no, well, if you open up that and you follow obviously more people and out of that elite category, your feed's not going to be as like stuffed, with big bucks on the ground.
Right.
But that's what I'm doing. Dude, that's happened to me. Like, I had to reprogram my mind and be like, well, that's right. I'm following guys who've done this for years, put in the work. They're in the states to get this done. Like,
they're hunting 6 states a year.
Yeah. So of course they're putting multiple bucks down and doing all this, And so I think that's really like, who are you following right now? If you see a bunch of big bucks down, you probably followed a bunch of guys who kill big bucks on a regular basis.
I mean, so I'm on the Lone Wolf crew, and there's a bunch of killers and there's a bunch of big bucks. So like, I killed a 154 one year, and I was on cloud 9 for about a week. and I start scrolling on Instagram and whatever, and all my teammates are throwing down 170s and 165s and 180s and 190s, and it's like, man, I shot a baby. Which
Yeah,
in
that-
reality,
but that's
which is bullcrap.
which in
yeah,
reality
that
is
should
a
not-
hammer.
I should have 154 every day of the
Yeah.
week.
So it's just that
Don't
social
let a
media will
120 walk by me.
absolutely skew your
Mhm.
vision.
But see, now that's a perfect example of getting caught up in social media,
Absolutely.
right? You let I'm not like raising my voice, but I'm saying you let social media take away from your
Joy.
time,
Yeah.
your joy, your passion, your success. Okay. You just killed a solid Virginia mountain buck. You were on cloud 9.
Yes.
You scrolled
It
through
put
social
me in that
media,
1/10,000th of a percent.
and you've seen one person shoot that 180,
Mm-hmm.
and you instantly brought yourself down to another level.
Yep.
Like, damn, I'm not that good. Nah, bro, you are that good because you put the time in, you put the effort in, you earned that Virginia mountain deer.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
since
100%.
then, I have realigned because I did realize, and that's when I started doing those calculations. And it's like, proportionally, it's a freaking stud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, there is no
154
one in
is a
any state that is passing a
solid
154.
deer.
I don't know. There's one upstairs. But anyway.
Solid deer.
I've never shot a 150.
So this year,
Yeah. Never.
I made it a point to myself as I was hunting. I made it a point, stay off of my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Stay off my phone. When I'm in the woods and I'm enjoying my moment with God, nature, X, Y, and Z, I don't care what Jim and Bob and Charlie are doing.
They're good guys, though.
They are good guys. But I'm focused on me at the moment, my moment. And whatever happens in that situation, by God, if I want to hit the back wall and let old Johnny Dane eat, he's going to eat. It's my story. Let me write it.
That's right. Come on, son.
Don't poop on my parade. It's cool finding Danny to see everybody killing things, dude, but don't take away from yourself when you put in the effort, you put in the time, and you harvest something. You pulled that bow back, you shot that deer, and it made your heart full, right?
Be proud of what you've
Be
done.
proud of what you did. Don't let the social media get all in the way of the hype. Don't let it do that, man. That put me on the back burner at multiple times.
Mm.
And I was tired of it, and I was super depressed at times. And my buddies were killing deer. I'm not killing deer. I'm looking at somebody else shooting I just let that shit go to hogwash, man.
Yep.
Enjoy the moment. We ain't here forever.
Yeah, I hunt for me now.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I feel like a little part of me, and if you got giant targets to hunt, by all means, go after them. And I have had the opportunity in some cases where I had some that were giant that I had the opportunity to go after and felt like I had a chance on. But I'm gonna hunt for me, like I said, and I'm gonna have fun. And I got 3 tags. I'm gonna use them.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever shot a 120?
Oh yeah, this year.
So the first time you shot a 120, how'd you feel?
It's cloud 9. I did it again this year. I was still on cloud 9.
So when you shot the 150, did you all of a sudden look at that 120, that memory, and just be like, oh, that's garbage
Nope.
now?
Right. Throw the memory away.
The memories,
No.
man. So when I started chasing specific bucks, now that was a 140. I will say that first deer that I was chasing and targeting, that specific deer will always be the highlight of my hunting career, and that was a 140 with a muzzle loader. I'll never forget any moment of that. And then that 150 I was talking about, he was also one I targeted and pinned him down with the bow. So I'll never forget that. But all of the 100s, the 90s, the 120s, all of those in between, they are all milestones and highlights in my career, down to this year's buck, which was not even a Pope and Young. It was just under a Pope and Young. And I earned that buck hard, and I won't forget it. And it has a place on my wall.
Man, That's so good for everybody to hear, for real.
Dude, you get hype. Social media is a death to the hunting industry in my world, in my mind.
I think so. I think on one side, yeah, and I think that's if we let it.
Yes.
The other side is what I do know about social media is I've been able to meet some pretty amazing people.
It's the whole reason we're sitting here right now.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me, yes, I clarify. Yes. I think social media can definitely drag you down, but it's beneficial.
But we can control it.
We can control
We can
it's all
decide
on our
how
own
we're
side.
going to use it. And I think what I would love to see the community come around and start saying, you know what, we're going to take this back. We're going to control it and we're going to use it for the right way.
I use it for building relationships.
Yeah, dude, I
Yep.
can't tell you.
Here
It's
we
been-
are, dude.
I was gonna say, Zach and I have met. We were on the same team. Zach and I have met one time outside of this. This is the first time you and I have ever
Mhm.
met.
Mhm.
And you ordered an IPA and a prime rib at dinner last night, and I was like, "Hey, that's my boy. That's what I'm talking about." And so now we're buddies, and
Yeah.
that's how easy it happens. But it's social media can either aid in that or it can hurt that, and a lot of it is your outlook
Decision.
and how you curate it.
Well, we're getting close to the hour mark. I really appreciate you guys. We were figuring out what we're going to talk about here.
That was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was an amazing conversation. I think people need to hear and they want to hear. And just watching the people walk by, our stands or our booths today, and just watching them kind of look at us. I mean, they don't know who I am,
Mhm.
and I'm a nobody, but they automatically started to attribute something to me just by, I heard them asking questions like, oh, are you on a podcast and all this stuff? And it's like, man, you don't even know who I am. Like, you don't know my story, you don't know my journey. Like, I'm no different than you. And the more I get to meet pretty amazing people like all of you guys, the more and more I realize, like, yeah, man, we're all starting off at, relatively the same point. And I really think that the dividing factor of if you're going to be consistent with killing or if you're not, isn't what you're naturally born with or not born with. It's the work that you put in, the investment that you put in, and the long game. It really is the long game. If you decide to go that route and don't let the other things pollute you, then you really can reach whatever milestone you want to set for yourself. It's just all how hard you're going to work.
We're all human. We're all dealt with the same deck of cards.
Yeah.
Play the hand you want to, and do what you got to do.
All right. One more time around the table. Say your name and how they can follow you.
Cool. Yeah. Once again, guys, my name's AJ Kazmerzak. You can find me on Instagram at @the_coffee Viking. If you thought we had a pretty good conversation, definitely hit me up. Would love to chat with you in the DMs or in the comments and all that good stuff.
Yep. Zach here, Virginia. Instagram is really all I got at Stash Squatch with a period in between there.
Self-made 88.
Yep.
My name's Christian. That's all I got.
Just real dudes
Just
Yeah.
real dude, man.
being dudes.
What you hear is what you get. You want to talk? Go ahead. Shoot me a message.
All right. Thanks everybody for showing up to the dojo this week. We will be out next Wednesday as well. Every Wednesday we're dropping a new one. Take care. Well, that is a wrap here on the Mobile Hunters Dojo. We're going to drop a new podcast every Thursday at 5 a.m. Do us a favor. Go give us a follow over at Instagram at the Mobile Hunters Dojo. Also, if you could leave us a 5-star review at Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it helps us out a lot. Thanks a lot. We look forward to seeing you again back here at the Mobile Hunters Dojo.